All right, everybody. Hey, thanks for being here. I really appreciate it. We're about ready to get started on Blog Talk Radio. We just brought you in a little earlier than we normally do. Hi, everybody. This is Daniel Gray, and I am the TrailerPark Prophet, broadcasting live on Blog Talk Radio from beautiful downtown Crestone, Colorado. This is Local Friday. Welcome back. Muchas gracias. So grateful that you decided to spend some of your day with the TrailerPark Prophet. Weather here looks overcast. Well, it's partly cloudy, sunny. I love Crestone. It's so beautiful. Me and Bailey Barker went for a walk in the Pinions, and the clouds at that time were enveloping the Crestone area, and the stillness and the quietness. Very inspiring. I love this planet. In fact, Earth is one of my favorite planets. Alright, this is Loco Friday. Let's see. I don't know if we have any trending news. You may have heard that the Russian Olympics have just started. The Winter Olympics started in Russia, in Sochi. We've been talking about that. And there were 2 terrorist attempts that were foiled, if I have my information correct. And people are a little nervous. One attempt was a man tried to hijack a plane, and I believe this was in Turkey. In fact, I know it was. And he demanded to be taken or flown to Sochi. And that was thwarted. We probably ought to do this one story. Let's see, what else? No. Oh, there was a sign in Sochi, Russia, in the Winter Olympics, of course, and it said, "We do not serve FBI and CIA agents." That's kind of... But I think probably what we ought to do is look and see what President Putin had to say today. Because that would really be kind of the grown-up thing, you know? I don't always get it right. Sometimes I can actually realize what the big story of the day is. Now, this comes from the Christian Science Monitor, and it's their cover story. Their cover story. Now, you got to admit, the start of the World Olympics is a big story, and whoever is the president of that country, what they have to say should be a big story. Now, if this was a... Well, let's just get into it. I'll save my commentary. This is written by Fred Weir, and it says, Russian leader eager to burnish the legacy and boost the country's global standing has risked a lot of prestige in staging the most expensive Olympics in history. Vladimir Putin was at the height of his powers and his popularity when he boarded his presidential plane to travel to Guatemala City on a July day almost 7 years ago. He was bringing a carefully prepared pitch to put a skeptical International Olympic Committee it bespoke of a key personal dream of his and a goal he hoped would secure his legacy and elevate Russia once again to a major world power. Speaking in English, a language he barely secretly or has been secretly studying, see, that's interesting, he pledged to transform the sleepy Soviet-era Black Sea town of Skokie into a world-class venue in time for the Winter Games of 2014. He pledged the staggering sum of $12 million in Kremlin cash to make that happen, a bid that dwarfed the competing cities of Pyongyang, South Korea, and Salzburg, Austria. When Skokie won, Mr. Putin was exuberant. Quote, this is, I guess this is Putin talking, not just a recognition of Russia's sporting achievements, but it is, beyond any doubt, a judgment of our country, he said. It is a recognition of our growing capability, first of all, economically and socially. Visitors to Skokie this month will discover that Putin's promises have been spectacularly fulfilled. The city now boasts a gleaming new airport, dozens of ultra-modern stadiums and sports facilities, and a state-of-the-art media center. It has free, high-speed, hi-fi anywhere on the Olympic grounds, a new road and a rapid transit line hewn from the mountainside to link the subtropical coast with the alpine winter sports cluster, and rows of new luxury hotels. Now that, I'm telling you, is a big deal right there. In the transportation world, building a brand new rail line that goes from alpine to subtropical, that's a big deal. And it goes on to say here, it's an impressive, even though the cost has since ballooned to an astonishing $55 billion, almost one-third of which appears to have been due to Russia's pervasive. Public opinion polls show that the Russians remain overwhelmingly proud of their country is set to host the world's most prestigious athletic event. So even in Russia, government can't do anything on budget. I mean, and that's a huge overrun. What they bid, $12 billion, and it winds up costing $55 billion. I mean, that's like 4 times as much. And that's government for you. You know what I mean? That's just the way government is. They always end up costing more money because they don't do things in an orderly fashion. There's no skin in the game with bureaucrats, so they don't have that keen instinct to be prudent stewards of our tax money. It's a psychological thing. You can't get around it. If it's not your money, you don't care as much. And if you work for the government, their goal in government is to get bigger. So anytime you have a cost overrun, or your department gets bigger, or you get to hire more people, or you get a new building, that's like getting a war award for your chest. You know, you've helped grow the size of government. You're a hero in the eyes of statists. I want to start talking more about statists. I need to learn more about statists too. But statists basically are people that want to see more government. They want to work in government. They want to support other people that work in government. They're statists. And there's a psychological component to statists too, is that they think that they're smart. Somehow they're genetically predisposed to be a good leader, a good public servant, a good statist, a good government employee. Moving on. No one will be encouraged to stray from the Olympic zone, but visitors who do will soon bump up against evidence that it's all something akin to a latter-day Pokemon Village. The glowing subtext of Putin's appeal was that visitors in Sochi would be welcomed by a rapidly modernizing and democratizing Russia that is vaulting into the global mainstream. Indeed, back in 2007, that almost seemed like a credible narrative. Then Russia had been one of the world's fastest growing economies. Prices for the country's main export, petroleum, were at record highs. A burgeoning middle class was on the social map by showing signs of political discontent. Now remember, the middle class pays the bills. One thing you have to get your mind around. Whether it's Russia, the USA, China, anywhere, the middle class always pays the bills. And the key is to grow your middle class. And that's why America's been so successful. Our middle class is huge. And not only that, we have a lot of assets and property and retirement plans, and it's huge. But it's like the backbone of our economy, or any capitalist, socialist economy like we have. In the USA, remember, we have a mixed economy. Roughly 50% is capitalism, and then roughly 50% is socialism. All right? Mixed economy. At any rate, a huge middle class, or in this article, the word burgeoning, I think I said that right, middle class, was redrawing the social map while showing few signs of political discontent, which is another key aspect in the psychology of a developing economy and society. But we won't get into that right now. A long-running separatist rebellion in the Southern Republic of Chechnya appeared defeated, and the torment of I'm going to have trouble with this word. The Caucasus region, the North Caucasus region, uncomfortably close to the Skoshi, largely pacified. Today, Russia's economy is struggling. It is beset by near stagnant growth, rising inflation, and growing working class unease over in housing, education, and pension reform. Race riots in Moscow and other centers have shattered the impression of ethnic harmony and exposed yawning social fault lines. Yawning. I love the Christian Science Monitor. They always have the best writers. Formerly, the middle class erupted in masses 2 years ago to air an array of bent-up grievances, particularly allegations of electoral fraud. See, nothing ruins the confidence of a society faster in their government than the mere mention or hint of electoral fraud. I mean, and also that pushes people on the sidelines so that just the operatives on either side of the political spectrum are actually involved in the elections and the voting, which isn't a really good thing. We got a little video here. Let's see if we can run this. Imagine this was today, and it's President Putin, and he's going to a training center for Olympic athletes. And it's actually President Putin. Oh, this was February 5th. And this is the Russian president at the Sochi Olympic Village. Let's give a listen here. This might be kind of interesting. And in case you're asking yourself, President Putin has been on the TrailerPark Prophet show before. All right, we got a little ad here. Huh. Movies. I really can't. Stuff, The Walking Dead. You know, that doesn't sound too wholesome kind of information I want in my organic computer. Okay, let's see what they have to say here. This is from AFP. He's walking through a training center. The president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, is. I looked at this before. That's not good radio. I'm so sorry, my fellow lovers of liberty. I shouldn't have done that. Alright, let's see. Let's move on. Trying to think. Let's just go ahead and get our local Friday stuff out of the way. I guess I'll start with this newspaper article I found from the Valley Courier. Now, this is from Alamosa, Colorado, here in the San Luis Valley. And the Valley Courier is the 800-pound gorilla of newspapers in the San Luis Valley. And the main article here, the lead article here, and this is kind of a grown-up newspaper. This isn't like the Gunnison Country Times or the Crested Butte News. I mean, these people, the Valley Courier, although they're, you know, they sit on stories and lie by omission like all media types do. But anyway, I wanted to do this particular story because it gives you an idea how development of natural resources is under attack by what I would consider some very nefarious environmental activist groups. Now, the headline here is Wild Earth Threatens to Sue Colorado by Ruth Hyde, a Courier editor. Alamosa, Dateline Alamosa. An environmental group from New Mexico this week filed its intention to sue Colorado over endangered species. It does not believe the upstream state is sufficiently supporting. Colorado Division of Water Resources Division 3 Division Engineer Craig Cotton said the Wild Earth Guardians had filed suit against the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers over endangered species issues in New Mexico, specifically a silvery minnow. Silvery minnow. The group subsequently filed the same type of notice against the state of Colorado. Wild Earth Guardians claim that Colorado, specifically the San Luis Valley, was allowing too much of the Rio Grande, that's a river, to be diverted upstream, so the water was not reaching the silvery minnow habitat areas in New Mexico. Quote, Peak Spring runoff no longer exists in the Rio Grande in central New Mexico, in large part because of consumption in the San Luis Valley authorized by the state of Colorado, said Wild Rivers Program Director Jen Pelez of the Wild Earth Guardian. The Rio Grande silvery minnow relies on these peak flows to reproduce, and we intend to hold the state of Colorado accountable for the harm it is causing to the species. The environmental group alleged that Colorado is violating the Endangered Species Act by not providing enough water downstream for the silvery minnow, which, quote, has been pushed to the brink of extinction. Well, I mean, if couldn't they take these guys and somehow put them in a private setting or a, you know what I mean? Put them in zoos or something. I mean, why do they have to go to extinction? I mean, even they must have enough of them though in labs and stuff so that if they do go extinct, probably someday in the future we'll be able to indoctrinate them through the use of DNA, right? Right? I think I'm right here. But the point of the story is, here's another example of these nefarious groups, you know, with names like Wild Earth. And we have no idea who these people are. We don't know where their money comes from. And basically they're using our judicial system to get their way through, they're basically using our courts to implement their policy, their ideology. And we, the people, have to spend money to defend against these groups like Wild Earth and other groups that we're going to talk about later on in the program, like HICA, High Country Citizens Alliance. Let's see here. Here's another poll quote. It says, Wild Earth Guardians maintain that Colorado could help restore the Rio Grande's ecological health by creating an environmental water acquisition program that would not only benefit endangered species but also recreational boating interests as well. The Guardians have been working with water users in New Mexico and the U.S. Senator Tom Udall to create such a program. And I guess that's basically all I want to do on that. But I can tell you this area, I've looked at trees that were cut down in this area, and I believe that's in this watershed. Yeah, it's in that watershed. So at least on this side of the valley, I can tell you we have been in a drought for the last 20 years. Last 20 years. We have not had any substantial moisture in all of the San Luis Valley. And that has to be one of the major reasons why there's not enough water in the Rio Grande for the silvery minnow. Alright, I don't think there's anything else I want to do here. We haven't done a station ID in a while. My name's Daniel Gray. I am the TrailerPark Prophet, broadcasting live on Blog Talk Radio from beautiful downtown Crestone, Colorado. Alright, I want to go ahead and go to the Gunnison Country Times, or as I like to refer to it as the Gunnison Dead Tree News. The headline story is that the ski area up in Crested Butte is not going to be sold, according to Will Shoemaker, who, by the way, is a Skippy. I got to tell this story again. I don't know why this cracks me up. Will Shoemaker is the editor of the Gunnison Dead Tree News, and he married a lovely woman from the coffee shop. Whatever they call him, Bruce Tista or something like that. I don't know why, that just cracks me up. I mean, there's just something fundamentally wrong about a newspaper editor dating the girl, the waitress at the coffee shop. I guess that's still kind of the same thing, you know, because editors so routinely in books and movies go and hang out, reporters out in coffee shops. So to marry the waitress somehow is disingenuous. I don't think that's the word, or tedious, maybe that's the word I'm looking for. Alright, anyways, Crested Butte Mountain Resort, CBMR leaders announced this week that a potential sale of the company's operations is no longer under consideration. Oh, this is kind of a crazy story here in Gunnison, Colorado. Headline, threats result in lockdown of local schools. Remember, we were reporting on lockdowns in Alamosa and another school down in northern New Mexico. Well, now there was a lockdown in Gunnison, Colorado. And I recognize this guy's face. I can't remember where I know him from. I actually had FaceTime with this suspect. And this is an article written by Chris Rourke, and starts like this: Gunnison man faces multiple misdemeanors and a felony count of allegedly making threats against family members and the larger Gunnison community which led to last week's lockdown of local schools. This guy's name is Curtis Finney. He's 41, is accused of menacing a Class 5 felony as well as misdemeanor counts, including harassing communications, interference with staff, faculty, or students of an educational institution, and violation of a protection order. This guy's a lunatic. Stemming from the incident Friday, he may also face a domestic violence charge. The charge carries a penalty of up to 4 years in prison upon conviction. But this guy is, and most of all of this was done on Facebook. You know, you want to think how serious Facebook is. I mean, Facebook is the public square. Vision the public square. That's Facebook. And you can't get on there and start saying crazy things. I mean, the affidavit states that Finney claimed in his threats to have guns with banana clips and hand grenades, and that his actions would make the papers nationwide. I mean, this guy's crying out for help. I mean, no wonder, thank God, you know, they picked this guy up. We had a lot of bad weather on Monarch over the last couple weeks, and there's been some really bad accidents on Monarch Pass between Salida and Gunnison, and there's pictures here of these big, huge tow trucks pulling out a 18-wheeler with what they call a box van. I think you probably have seen the company Swift. Let's see here. Now, see, this is important in a way, too. Well, let's see. How do I want to set this up? No, I don't want to do that. Let's just do this. You know how I've been talking about how up in Crested Butte that, in my mind, some nefarious development has been going on down Lake Irwin, outside Crested Butte, 10 miles outside of Crested Butte, and that there's 5 or 6 foreign corporations that nobody knows who is the director or where the money comes from, and they're like doing all this development piecemeal, so as to not have to offer up a master plan. Well, they've already made millions of dollars of capital improvements, all right? And now, just now, they're putting together a plan. So it's the cart before the horse. They've been developing Lake Irwin now for the last, 3 to 5 years. All right, and this is this creepy group of insiders, progressive socialists, and the story is all the money comes from Russian investor, and the local newspaper, the Crested Butte News, they're like in bed with these guys because they're the people that started it were the mayor of Crested Butte. And he's in bed with all the mucky mucks at the newspaper and the radio station K-Buck. But at any rate, they're up there developing this beautiful natural resource that belongs to everyone in the planet. And the progressive socialists in Crested Butte have just been turning a blind eye to it because it's their people. And at the same time, they've been fighting the corporate ski area development up at Mount Crested Butte. You know, that's the irony in how progressive socialists are. They'll fight some interest in the name of environmentalism, but then they'll allow their own crony to develop Lake Irwin because they're progressive socialists. That's the irony and the hypocrisy of progressive socialism on every level. So here's this piece here from the Gunnison Dead Tree News. And remember, this isn't a lead article. This is on page 2 on the left side, and it's done in a column, which means this is like in level priority. It's probably like 5. Here's the article. Scarp Ridge sketch plan gets BOCC nod. Now BOOC, here, I'll just read this to you. Scarp Ridge, now they're the umbrella corporation that receives its money from Russia. Scarp LLC has received approval for the sketch plan phase of the company's proposal for a year-round commercial resort near Irwin, 12 miles west of Crested Butte. Gunnison Commissioners Phil Chamberlain and Jonathan Houck both voted to approve the plan Tuesday following the Planning Commission's unanimous recommendations to do so on January 17th. Commissioner Paula Swenson recused herself from Tuesday's vote. She indicated that her husband's company, Internet Colorado, is in conversation with Scarp Ridge officials about providing service to the company. How convenient. And the way these deals are put together, I mean, I could have told you that Chamberlain and Hulk were in the bag. I know how these two work. These Phil Chamberlain and Jonathan Houck, they know exactly who are the principals in the 5 shadowy foreign corporations that are doing the development up at Lake Irwin. Hulk and Chamberlain, they know who these people are. They're in bed with these people. And this same kind of thing's going on in your own community. These guys are bought and paid for. Phil Chamberlain, Jonathan Hulk, those guys are bought and paid for. And like I said, the development is already underway and has been underway for the last 5 years. And this new plan, it's the plan after the development already started. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. It's corrupt. And Paula Swenson and her husband, who's always out there pushing telecommunication construction on government entities in the valley, I mean, he's always in there to get his hand in there. And Paula's right there helping. Talk about teamwork. Recused herself, but if they didn't have Phil, I mean, there's only 3 people on the county commissioners in Gunnison. And that's why they allowed Paula Swenson to skate on this vote, because if they didn't have 2 votes, Paula would have been for this plan. She just had a convenient out because her husband was involved. They could have worked around that. And because the Gunnison Dead Tree News, they're not going to report any negative information on Phil Chamberlain or Jonathan Hulk or Paula Swenson, because they're all in bed together. I mean, they break bread with the publisher of the Gunnison Dead Tree News, Chris Dickey, all the time. I mean, these people are so incestuous. I mean, there's so much cronyism going on here. And I know it's going on in your community too. And if you don't stand up, and if you don't get involved in these issues and understand who these people are and get good people into these positions, this is what happens. And the irony and the hypocrisy is that this group of progressive socialists on one hand say they're for the environment, and yet they're up there at Lake Irwin trashing the environment for money and profit. It's an upside down world. Oh, let's see. Chamberlain and Hulk opted to forego a public hearing over the proposal. Can you believe that? They decided to forego a public hearing over the proposal. I mean, why bother letting the people have a say on a major decision on development development in one of the most pristine mountain areas in the state. What? I mean, oh, Jonathan Hulk, Phil Chamberlain opted to forego scheduling a public hearing over the proposal. Let's not bother, citing satisfaction with the proponents' response to issues that have been raised thus far. Numerous conditions are included in the sketch plan approval document based on recommendations from Planning Commission. NetBridge is required to submit a more detailed preliminary plan for the project prior to submitting a final plan. Says, now get a load of this, the last paragraph. I've been involved with a lot of projects, said Scarpridge attorney and former county commissioner David Linsdorf. Quote, I think we feel confident with the conditions, but it's going to be a lot of work. Why is it going to be a lot of work? You have the inside track. All these people are your sycophant friends, counselor. Unbelievable. And get a load of this. When they first got all of this Lake Irwin stuff started, they used this Scarpridge corporation, the umbrella corporation. They were using the same attorney that the town of Crested Butte uses. And then that was at the same time that the mayor of Crested Butte was also one of the principals of the Scarp Ridge through another corporation, another shell corporation. But I'm not going to go into all of that. For those of you that are from the Gunnison area, you know what I'm talking about. And I think I couched it in a understandable enough way that you can see that this kind of stuff is just rampant out there. And this just isn't Gunnison, Colorado, or this just isn't Saguache. I mean, I think that this is everywhere, and I'm telling you, all politics is local, and this kind of corruption in your community. In your community. And like the Founding Fathers said, it's your responsibility. Freedom's not free of responsibility. You've got to fight for your liberty and your freedom. And one of those ways is to make sure that you know the issues in your community, you know the political actors, and you're involved, and they know your face, and they know what you stand for. And if you're not out there going to meetings and bringing your kids and campaigning and making your government more transparent, you are a waste of your liberty. And that's why all politics is local. Because if every community has people just sitting around standing on the sidelines, then we're going to have corrupt politics like we do in Gunnison County, like we do in Saguache County, like we do in your community. Damn. Settle down. God, but it's true. You know what I mean? All right, you're listening to the Trailer Park Prophet, Daniel Gray, broadcasting live on Blog Talk Radio from beautiful downtown Crestone, Colorado. And I got to tell you, I'm really lucky to be here in Crestone, Colorado. I love all my friends. I love the environment. I'm really happy. I made a really good decision in my life, and I'm just really happy. You know, I'm busting moves to music, and I'm walking every day in the wilderness, and I'm just having a really good time. And I thought maybe you might be interested in knowing. If I have time, I'll tell you about a story that happened to me yesterday. And maybe not. Actually, probably I get on the rest of the program. All right, we got our segment. Page. You know what? I might have inadvertently cut my connection to Blog Talk Radio Alright, let's see. Oh no, I'm on the air. I'm still on the air. Let's see. I do have a warning. Unresponsive script. The script of this page may be busy or it may have stopped responding. Stop script. Is that what I should do? Alright. No. Continue. No. I guess I am disconnected. Alright, hang on. Let me try to get back. I guess I wanted to... I should have continued the script. Alright. Call in via Skype. Enter your Skype username. No, man, come on. I never have to put in my Skype username. Maybe I do today, though. Uh-oh. You know what? I don't have my very... Come on, baby. Oh, no, I don't have my ID number. Oh, shit. You know what, guys? I don't know where my very important paper is that actually has my Skype username. And I think I'm just going to go ahead and say goodbye. I'll see you on Monday, and we'll have a really good show for you on Monday. But I don't know. I kind of feel like I deserve a little time off. So I'm going to say goodbye. And again, we'll see you on Monday. Adios.